What's up, everybody? Welcome back to University of Adversity. I'm your host, Lance Essihos, coming at you from beautiful Sedona, Arizona. I'm in my living room doing this, standing up. Such a beautiful spot. I'm staying at my friend Melanie's place, looking out at the blue sky, the red rock. Man, I love it here. I came here because I really love this place. And if you guys know anything about my story, whether I've told this before or not, Sedona has a very special place in my heart. It's really the reason that the whole thing that inspired my book in the first place, Mastering Adversity. The warrior archetype came from a breathwork ceremony that I had here. And ever since then, I've been like, when am I going to go back? And after visiting with my mom in my hometown of Edmonton, Alberta for 3 months, I decided to come here and stay in Sedona. Probably be here till in the spring sometime. I'm not sure the exact date, but yeah, it's been great so far. And the reason I came here is because last year was a really beautiful but challenging year. And by the end of the year, I'm pretty sure I hit burnout. You know, there was a combination of traveling the world, doing all that, which is really great. And what you see on social media and you see me sharing all looks fine and dandy, right? But there's also the challenges that come from not being stable, from going destination after destination, having to set up things all the time, having to deal with different countries and just the shit that goes wrong when you're in these places. But it's all part of it, which I love. That's what I love about traveling is it really shapes your character. And that's what I'm all about, using adversity to shape who you are, right? And to learn from it, to get to the next level. But with that and what happened, there's a lot that happened with my business and my team, things falling apart, the book, all that stuff. I talked about it before. The book, publisher going bankrupt, and me finally the book coming out at the end of September. And I was like burnt out when it came to marketing. Because as soon as all that stuff was done, I was like, okay, now it's hit the gas pedal, throw gas in the fire. And I love promoting my stuff, but at the same time, I don't necessarily love it, right? I'm a very humble person and I found it to be very draining because there's just a certain amount of work that goes in and I love it. But what I realized was at the end of the year that I felt burnt out and staying with my mom and seeing family and all that for 3 months was just what my soul needed. But then the next step for me was like, all right, now that you've kind of spent time with family, you've slowed down a little bit, what's the next step? And before jumping into too much other stuff, like I know a lot of us do as creators, entrepreneurs, we're like, I got to do the next thing. I got to do the next thing. I was told within myself to slow down, let things come to me, create some awareness, create some acceptance, stuff that I talk about, right? And allow things to come. So I decided, why not go to Sedona where a lot of the magic happened before? I had the clearest, most powerful message to my intuition that I ever had before when I came here. So I was like, why not start the year off here? And I was initially going to come for a couple weeks, but I kid you not, I did a meditation and it told me stay another month or so. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay here till sometime in the spring. I don't really know yet. But that's the power of this place. And a lot of people ask me, when you hit a roadblock, when things get challenging, when you don't know what's going on, what do you do? Here's my answer. I slow the fuck down. When I feel like I need to go harder, but I don't really know, and I'm just doing that to try and prove something to myself, I know it's time to slow down. And you know what I do? I go into my body. I go into darkness in my own meditation. I throw the night mask on, the blindfold, and I sit in the dark and I just sit. I allow things to quiet down. Sometimes it's challenging, but that's where I get my clarity. Some people say I don't need meditation. I think that's bullshit. I think everybody needs meditation. If you say you don't need it, I think you need it. But I'm not judging. If that's what you think, that's fine. Not you don't have to do meditation. There's plenty of ways to get clarity, and good for you for doing whatever you need to do. There's a lot of ways that people can get into a meditated state. But I think somebody needs it in some way, shape, or form. And for me, I've found the best clarity for me comes in the darkness, in the silence. And then what I do, I journal on it. I get this crazy shit that's in my brain out on paper. And I allow that stuff, all the voices of stories of the past, limitations, reasons that I don't believe in myself, self-worth, all that shit. I let it just have its place and then it just moves through me. And then I write about it. When I do that, it allows me to have a fresh, clean slate. That's what this stuff does. Is it allows you to connect to almost like an inner knowing, a wisdom that we have access to answers if you ask. If you believe that it's bullshit, you won't get anything. And it takes practice. But if you can feel into your intuition versus your ego, your intuition is your heart, your soul, the truth of who you are. And my belief is that we have inner innate wisdom that comes from generations that we have with us. But what happens is our ego, which is constructed of stories of the past, shape who we are and what we think we need to do. So when we can separate the two and tap into our intuition to quiet down and feel into that, then you can understand that there's going to be answers that'll surface that will probably be more aligned to who you want to be. Now, there's a lot of people that create a ton of success, a lot more success that I've created, that just go, 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 make money, do this, do that, go to the next thing. Power to them, right? That's their journey. And I can't criticize that. You know, if they're making a lot more money than me and doing all that shit, good for them. But for me, there's a purpose that I, on my path in this world, that I need to do and I want to cultivate so that the long game that I leave this earth from has my full and my greatest, that it's aligned with my full and greatest potential. That's my goal. There's a lot of paths to get to the same ending. But for me to fine tune the shit that I actually feel is true to me, it takes slowing down. And that's why Sedona is powerful. And it's taken me a little while to get clarity. I had multiple businesses going on. I have my podcast production company, booking people on podcasts, writing my book, coaching, wanting to coach people. There's all this shit, and it's chaotic sometimes because I'm trying to figure out, how do I serve at the highest level? Like, what is the best thing to do? You know, I'm supposed to do this TEDx talk that I've been putting off. There's so many things in my awareness that almost becomes, you guys can probably agree that this happens to you, is like you get overwhelmed and then you don't want to do shit, right? Do you agree? Well, that's what's happened sometimes to me. But the difference is like, I know how to combat that is through slowing down and breaking it down into simple bites, focusing on one thing at a time. And this is hard sometimes. So if you guys are going through the same kind of thing, allow yourself to slow down. That's the word, is allow. Give yourself some time to listen. If meditating is not your thing, that's okay. Go out into nature. Go out and do something where you are just in the present moment. Music, art, whatever that, all that stuff is a connection to your intuition. You don't need to sit in meditation. But I think there's a place for it for everybody, where it's all it is you're only asking your higher self for advice or God or whatever you think. There's something there. I fully believe that. Right? And not everybody does. And that's okay. But for me, that's where I'm at in this part of my journey, is like, how can I serve at the greatest level, but at the same time, choose the path that is the closest one to where I want to be. And It's not always easy, right? There's a bit of a story that came, and it's kind of funny because when I first got here, I'm staying at my friend Melanie's place. We're good friends. We were both in the Fit for Service Aubrey Marcus program in 2020, and we were going on this walk. I was up at 4:30 that morning. I had too much coffee, and we were getting into this conversation. And she was asking me, "So what's your plan next? What do you want to do?" And I kept saying, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know." And apparently I was saying I don't know a lot. And she called me out. She's like, "Hey, you're saying I don't know, and it's messing with my vibe. You're saying it too much." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And it caught me off guard. We're sitting in the kitchen, and immediately I got upset, and I was just like annoyed. I was like, "Fuck." I was like, "I didn't that's not what I'm trying to do." And then I was like, "She's right." And I at first was annoyed. It was a combination of no food, too much coffee, maybe not enough sleep. But I went and I sat with it in my room and I meditated and I journaled like I do whenever I'm going through something. That's what I do. People say, what do you use? How do you work through shit? I say, fucking break it down to basics, sit still, write down. That's how you get clarity. Simple. Go work out, get sun. There's simple answers, drink more water. There's a lot of simple answers that can help you. But then we ended up chatting, I think a day later. We didn't talk for like a day. We sat down, worked it out a little bit. And I was like, we talked and I was like, you're right. I was like, it triggered this thing in me because I didn't know. And here I am trying to get clarity coming out here. And I'm literally telling the universe, I don't know. I don't know. That's the fucking thing is I do know. And if I want to know the answers, then I got to at least step in and go and reframe it. Like I'm waiting, like I know that it'll come when it's meant to, or however I want to reframe it. But this is the thing I want to say is like we got to be really careful with our words. You know, when we say these things, people say too much of this stuff nonchalantly, like, "Oh, I suck at this," or "I don't do this," or they run themselves down all the time, and you really notice it when you start to pay attention. And it doesn't do any good when you run yourself down. You're literally speaking that into the world. So when I got called out about saying I don't know too much, it really made me think. Now I'm conscious about it. So thank you, Melanie, if you happen to listen to this. That I don't want to say I don't know all the time because I actually want to know and I actually do know. If anything, I'm willing to receive or I'm willing to receive clarity, whatever it is. This is the shit that being aware is about actually being awake to yourself, not just on the shit on social media, being awake and using it as like this marketing tool, but actually being awake as like, I'm awake to myself. I'm awake to answers that come to me. And I'm not so stuck in my ego and the stories that don't allow me to bring it into myself, into my awareness. That's how you change. That's how you get answers, is you allow and you receive. But if you're in this discounting of things like, I don't know, I suck at this, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 like we all do, that's exactly right. You're literally telling the universe that's what you want. That's what you're doing. So be mindful with that. And another thing that I have realized, and I'm going to get super vulnerable with you guys here, as I always do, is that I realized that I had a major self-worth issue in the last couple of years. Here's what I mean. I achieved a lot in my life. The podcast, I've been able to get some of the most famous high level people on planet Earth on this podcast, right? And a lot of people would say, Lance, wow, you've made it. You got a best selling book, blah, blah, blah. You've interviewed pro athletes, you've interviewed your heroes, celebrities, authors, all this shit. but I never felt like I had achieved anything. And I've been looking at that lately. And I've been looking at all the things I've achieved in my life. That if I was to step out of my body and look at myself, I go, fuck, you've done really well. Good job. But what I was doing was being really hard on myself and always saying, no, you got to do more. You got to do more. It's not good enough yet. Like I was trying to like prove myself to somebody or something when all I needed to do was prove to myself that I'm worthy and whatever it is that I want, or this person to come on the show, or to achieve this, or to get asked to do that, or whatever it is, I'm already worthy right now. So ask yourself this, you guys. How many times have you felt like what you've done isn't worthy, like you're not enough? Like you have to do another thing, or you have to buy another car, or you have to travel to another city, or you have to get somebody else's approval, or somebody's got to compliment you for you to feel enough, or you got to get the girl or the guy. The real truth is that's never going to solve the issue. The issue is that you have to realize, I did a video about this on Instagram the other day. You have to realize your worth starts now. And your worth doesn't come from chasing the next thing. Because a lot of the people we see on social media, you only see the go, 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 go entrepreneurs, go till you die. You don't see the other people that are successful that don't operate like that, right? As much. Social media is all the ego driven, more, more, more. And look, I love it. I participate in it too. I got a strong ego for things also. But I've also calmed down and realized that that shit doesn't actually make me happy. What makes me happy is feeling whole in myself, reflecting and feeling that I'm already here. I've already done it. Just the fact that you're alive right now, you know, the chance of you being a human being is like, I heard some crazy stat, like 400 trillion or something, something wild. I don't even know what it is. I probably butchered it. But you're a human. You've already made it. You're here. You're whole. You're here. And life is about that journey to just remembering that wholeness and that fullness that you already have since you were a kid, but are going through life and going through shit, being taught by people, being coached by people that like almost robbed you of that, knowing that you've had the whole time. And life is about all of a sudden being like, shit, what am I doing? And then unlearning all the shit to remember what's already been there the whole time. And once you realize that you're already whole, that you're already there, you've already made it, and you don't need shit, because if you're really grateful and you're listening to this, you have more than most. If you're able to watch this, you have more than most. If you're able to listen to this, you have more than most. If you have a body, if you can hear, if you can see, if you can smell, if you can run, think about what a miracle it is for us that we're alive right now. We've already won. We've already won. And that's one thing that Dr. Joe Dispenza talked about in his meditation retreats, was that the whole point of doing those things, that meditation, is to bring that sense of heart opening energy, which creates wholeness. And when you're at that place, you don't feel like you need anything else, right? Have you ever been with like somebody you love or a family member, and there's like, you're having a great time, your heart's open, you're laughing, there's good food. You're like, I got everything I need. I don't need anything. You don't even think about anything else. And it's just there. Imagine if you could get to that point every day where you look at life like you've already made it. And that heart opening space is where the abundance starts to flow in. When you don't need it is when it comes in. If you close your heart off, if you become cynical, if you start looking at everything that's wrong versus what is right in front of you, you're literally blocking yourself. And that's what a lot of us do. A lot of us live in fear. A lot of us live in judgment, envy, comparisons. That's the way our society works, because they sell us things, right? That's what it's all made. Products are made to make you feel like you don't have enough now. So if you buy this, you will have it after. And we all get that initial rush, but then after it goes away and you want more. And I'm not saying don't enjoy buying stuff. I love buying stuff. I love doing all the things, being human, all the things. But just sit back and remember, ask yourself, where's this coming from? Do I feel like I need something to complete me? Or am I whole? Am I feel like I've already won life? Am I grateful for everything around me? This is why I talk about the gratitude. This is why I talk about doing 10 things you're grateful for and why. Some people think it's stupid. Some people think it's great. For me, it's life-changing because I was programmed to be so negative and to see things so negatively. I think most of us are, that I need to do that every day so that I could shift my perspective and see the gratitude in it versus all the negative stuff. And if I do that every day in my journaling, I've done it almost 100 days in a row. It's the record that I've ever done. It's really helped me see gratitude as the default versus negativity as the default. You see? And sometimes that's what we need. It's habit. And I don't know about you, but I want gratitude to be my habit. I want to see the opportunity in every situation. And that's what I try and base my life on. So I encourage you guys, if you're feeling like you're not enough or you're not worthy or anything along those lines, start to ask yourself why that is. Start to figure out where that started. Journal on that. Because that's where the work starts. Is that it's healing that part of you that doesn't feel worthy right now. It could have started when we were young, could have started when later on in life, it doesn't matter. But the point is to understand this is why we do the work on trauma. This is why you do breath work. This is why you do meditation. This is why you do a lot of different things. And I don't know what modality is best for you, but what I know is that most humans on earth don't feel enough and don't feel worthy. And I'll tell you this, that no matter what you do, no matter who you go after or who you attract in your life or what you chase, that is never going to give you the fulfillment that you seek. You have to feel the wholeness and the fulfillment within yourself now. And it starts with gratitude. It starts with reflecting. It starts with feeling into you. You've already made it. You won the lottery. I'm also reading a book right now from Kyle Cease called Money is an Illusion. Or what is it called? The Illusion of Money. Great book talking about this. And I feel like I was reading this at the right time. Because it's like we've already won. And some of this stuff that I'm talking about was from his book. And it was like stuff I've said, but I needed to read it again. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Okay, cool. Like it's like I needed to read that at the right moment. So thank you, Kyle. He's gonna come on the podcast at some point too. And this is it. This is the game of life. How can we get to wholeness? How can we feel enough now? Because then, ladies and gentlemen, that's when the abundance rolls in. When you feel you don't need something, it all comes in. How many times have you sat somewhere or I don't know, there's a situation where you're just killing it. Things are just coming at you. And all of a sudden, it doesn't stop. Like everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody's like wants your energy or whatever. There's no secret to that. That's actually what's happening. Is that you're putting out that you're putting out that vibration and people are wanting that. That's what we are, is vibration. Call it woo-woo or not. I'm all for the fucking woo-woo. I want to learn all this shit. That's the beauty of it. Right? So get to that place. Be happy. Be alive. Feel good. Whatever you need to do. That's why I love Tony Robbins too. This is where I learned from him. Change your state. Your state is connected to your emotion. So much of us are emotional, and it's just a matter of changing our state, changing our energy so that we feel better. And when we feel better, we're more energized, alive, full of air, oxygen, gratitude. That's the energy, the frequency where we like attract more. And that's the frequency that people want. So if you want to attract great people in your life, start feeling good and fucking let the world have that. And you're going to get it right back. If you want to crump down and be upset and pessimistic and sad and angry at everybody, what do you think you're going to get back? That energy. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate this. And I wanted to do this solo episode because I felt energized. And sometimes my solo episodes, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm like, oh, I got to do a solo, and I do it. But this one, I was like, I'm just going to do one because I feel great. So I hope that was valuable, you guys. Sedona, I'll let you know what the plan is. I got a lot of stuff that I'm working through, and I'm figuring it all out. And my goal is to serve at the highest level. And I love you guys. Appreciate you listening to my vulnerable truths. And I hope you resonate with that, because I truly believe we're all here for a reason. Everybody has a gift. And life is about figuring out what that is and bringing that to surface and doing whatever you can to water that seed. And I believe that's connected to your intuition. We all have that passion that needs to be pulled out, brought to the surface, and watered on a regular basis. That is our truth. That is what's going to bring us the fulfillment. You water that seed of passion, it's going to take you to an amazing place. And I'm realizing that in my life. I'm so fucking grateful for listening to my intuition. Has it been easy? No, but I know the trajectory is the right path. I always do in my heart. I've never done anything that doesn't feel right. Made a lot of stupid mistakes, made a lot of bad choices, but I believe that it's all led me to this for a reason. And I believe that I am on the right trajectory. So ask yourself this tonight, you guys. Really ask yourself and do this exercise. What is it I really want to do with my life? Am I watering that seed? Even if you have to do shit you don't want to do for a while, start planting that seed of your passion. Start doing a little bit every day. Start feeling into it. And understand that you are worthy of whatever it is. You just have to believe. And for you to believe, it takes discipline and consistency every day of doing things that get you to the state that you need to be at to feel good about the shit you're doing. Right? That's a whole other conversation. I've talked about confidence, talked about belief. A lot of this stuff comes from the keeping the promises with yourself consistently over time to get to a level where you trust yourself. When you trust yourself, your belief rises. So if you have something you want to do, you have something that is there, start doing things to figure out how can I be successful with this thing, and then work backwards. What are the steps? Start doing steps daily. And if you don't believe it, if you aren't worthy, start doing things to build confidence and belief right now. Journal on it. Why do I not feel worthy? Ask yourself, what's coming up? What is the story behind that? What part of me doesn't feel worthy? Where did this all begin? This is the reflection. And after you've journaled, sit, meditate on it. It's powerful stuff. And you'll get clarity, I promise. If you want to get some breath work in there, do some breath work too. Right? Also, be careful what you're reading. Read things that fill your soul. Don't watch shit that makes you feel depressed. If you want to tap into your creativity and your intuition, cut out the bullshit. Cut out the stuff that drains your energy. Cut out the bad TV, the bad Netflix. Cut out the shitty food, the booze, the sugar, the stuff that takes away from that inner knowing, that signal. When that signal is strong, you can listen, right? So guys, it's worth it. Figure out where you don't feel worthy and why, and start doing the little things every day. It's worth it. Your dreams matter and you matter. All right. Much love, you guys. If you aren't subscribed to this podcast, make sure to do so. And you guys, I'm also starting to offer one-on-one coaching. So if you guys want to have one-on-one with me, I'm going to put the link in the bio. It's connected to my Pick My Brain profile. Pick My Brain is an amazing platform. I'm actually an investor in it. I haven't really promoted it that much, but Pick My Brain gives you an opportunity to put yourself on a platform and create offers. Basically, a unique way to monetize your time, knowledge, and experience in amazing, unique ways, right? You can sell gift knowledge to people. It's amazing. And I just put up my profiles on there. We're testing it out. It's going to be evolving. But if you guys want to work with me, if you want to book a get to know me call, I have a free call in there. If you want to book a pick my brain call, it's on there. There's a deep dive one-on-one session and there's packages, there's all of that. So I'm testing it out. If you guys want to hire me one-on-one, go ahead and do so. All the information is below. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast and stay tuned, everybody. I love you all. And of course, if you haven't bought the book Mastering Adversity yet, highly recommend you do so. I love it. Put my heart and soul into it, and I know you'll love it too. I've been getting tons of feedback from it, and yeah, that's it for now. I'm going to lose my voice. Time to eat. Much love, everybody. Catch you next time.